These are the top stories up to this hour. President Carter continues to wrestle with this nation's energy and economic problems. As far as the weather is concerned for tomorrow, get ready for a hot and muggy one. Glenn Burns will be back in just a moment to give us all the grim details as News Center 11 for 7779 continues.
This is the 10 p.m. edition of News Center 11 for Sunday, July 8th, 1979. With anchorman Stan Borman, Glenn Burns with the weather, Steve Pacetti on sports, and the News Center 11 reporting team.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Stan Borman. Here's what's happening at 10 o'clock. First off, you saw me get a drink of water. We apologize for that.
Every day.
Explosive bubble remains a question mark tonight at 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania. President Carter went out to the scene. We'll have a report on that. And a Minneapolis fireman lost his life today. I'm Stan Borman. We'll have complete details on those and other stories coming up next on the Sunday night edition of News Center 11.
This Easter, fashions are blooming at Wool's.
Good morning. It's 7:25. I'm Jane Mitchell, and now we'll look at the top stories in Minnesota this morning. Police report a South Minneapolis man was abducted early this morning and forced into the trunk of a car. The man, whose identity is not known, reportedly escaped in the Brooklyn Park area after loosening the trunk lock. He called police, and authorities are now searching the area for a tan Nova. A gun was apparently used in the alleged kidnapping. United Airlines announced yesterday that oil shortages are forcing the cancellation of all flights to Cleveland and Boston from the Twin Cities as of Saturday. Some Chicago flights are also reportedly being dropped. But United officials say if you are booked on one of those flights to be canceled, don't worry. United will be calling you by late today to tell you about the dropped flights and rebook you. North Central Airlines is also dropping some flights, but that airline is doing it on a day-to-day basis. They're also making plans to rebook all displaced passengers. In other state news, by a nearly unanimous voice vote yesterday, the Minnesota House Rules Committee decided to allocate $27 a day for legislators living outside the Twin Cities metro area, and that resolution now goes to the House floor. If you spent the winter coping with mounds of unwieldy snow, just wishing it would melt away, you may want to retract that wish. The Minnesota Public Safety Department says major flooding could occur in at least 4 regions of Minnesota this spring when the area starts to thaw out. Apparently, that heavy snow has a very high water content. In southeastern Minnesota, the danger areas are likely to be Cedar River and Root River. And here's a look at what's happening today. At 10 a.m., the House Environment and Natural Resources Committee holds a second hearing on a bill that would make deposits on throwaway beer and pop containers mandatory. And the House convenes at 2 p.m. and could take final action on a bill to okay a constitutional amendment. That amendment would give the District of Columbia congressional representation. We'll be back with the weather in just a moment, so stay tuned. Well, let's take a look at the weather. The Twin Cities temperature right now is 15 degrees Fahrenheit or 9 below Celsius. The sky is partly cloudy and the winds are heading west at a breezy 5 miles per hour. There's a good chance of light snow this afternoon in the Twin Cities, and the highs in the lower 30s, lows in the upper 20s. Whichever, we hope you have a very nice day. I'll be back at 8:25.
At Northside Lincoln Mercury, you're...
high. Proud. We've got a lot to smile about. Proud. In a special way, we're gonna light your nights and fill your days. Make you laugh, make you cry, make you see the reason why we're proud to be, yeah, NBC. We're proud, say it again. NBC, proud as a big rock.
Steve, even though I've been out of state for most of this summer, I've been following the Twins off and on. It seems like they run in, yeah, it's been kind of disappointing, but it seems like they run in streaks.
Inconsistency, probably their worst problem.
And before we say goodnight tonight, we'd like to officially welcome John Bachman to News Center 11 and to the anchor desk. He'll be here with me every night, 5:30 and 10 o'clock. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for making it easier for me. I appreciate
anything
it.
we can do. This is the second time around for you. This is not your first time in the Twin Cities.
No, and my family and I are really looking forward to being back here.
You used to work at one of the other stations, which
yeah,
we will
I can't recall the
fail
call
to
letters.
name all the way. Okay, that does it. That's the 5:30 edition of News Center 11 for this Monday night.
Stay tuned now for NBC Nightly News from New York. Also tonight, as we said, the Vikings play the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. We'll carry the game, and then we'll be back later tonight with all the latest news.
Good evening. Okay, in just a moment, we'll check in with Glenn Burns and find out how much reprieve we're going to get before the next snowstorm hits. Had about 2 inches over the night, and he'll give us the complete weather forecast in just a moment as we move along for this getaway day. Now, I know I wasn't alone last night, but I almost got wiped out going home.
Almost bought the farm 3 times
Gotta
last
tell you,
night.
the guy did a couple of donuts right out there in the middle of 55.
Ooh, boy, yeah. And it seems that another low-pressure system developing out over Montana is going to move into our area Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, so there's a chance of flurries those 3 days. Will melt with warmer temperatures.
That'd be good.
Okay, let's find out how cold it was this afternoon. No, it's the second straight day that we've had temperatures not exceed the freezing mark. Our high today was 25, the overnight low was 20, 1.90 inches of snow in the past 24 hours since it began. 44 and 28 degrees would be considered normal, so we're far below that. And there, our cameras went up to Duluth, and that's the lighthouse over in Superior there. Present temperature 20 degrees, dew point at 10 degrees, humidity 65%, barometer is rising, and winds have now shifted to the north. They're coming in at 7 miles an hour. Here's what it all looks like from 22,300 miles in space.
And the weather outside could signal a new round of problems for us. It's still in the 90s outside, even as we speak at this late hour. It may never break. In just a moment, we'll check in with Glenn Burns and find out what the morrow may bring, hopefully lower temperatures. Stay with us.
I'm John Bachman. Expect a closer look with News Center 11 at 5:30 and 10.
This is WTCN TV, Minneapolis and St. Paul. This is News Center 11, the Weekend Report with Dennis Bounds, Steve Pacenti Sports, and Glenn Burns Weather. Now for News Center 11, Dennis Bounds.
It's still 1-1 at the Met. North Stars and Buffalo skating it hard. We'll have an update and highlights tomorrow night at
5 o'clock. Speaking of 5 o'clock, that is our news, and we will be back here tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I know we haven't been in that time slot for a couple of weeks, but we'll have an early football game, no late football game. So until 5 o'clock tomorrow, thanks for watching.